Oh, hi. Welcome to my renovation here on Iris Street. If you're joining us for the first time, it's the 76th week. This week, I finished up the RedGuard installation in the floors of my bathrooms to prevent them from any moisture penetration. I also installed a shower pan in the bathtub so that I can install the remaining drywall in the bathrooms. So, let's get to it. This week begins with a reapplication of the RedGuard in my bathrooms. As I mentioned last week, my initial coat was way too thick, and when it dried, it cracked and I was able to just peel it right off. So the good news is, that was easy to take off. The bad news is, I had to replace it. The second coat I put down a lot thinner after reading the instructions more carefully, and it came out really nicely. I was also just having fun this day with my tripod and poking my camera around, so here's a few shots of the house. Now that RedGuard has dried properly in the bathrooms, I can actually start hanging up sheetrock and, more importantly, mortaring in my shower pan and my bathtub. I picked up a solo stove because I have a bunch of twigs and branches in the backyard, and I'd like to burn them down and enjoy a fire in the evenings sometimes, and the ash will also make good fertilizer for my garden. Saturday starts off with some plumbing work. Before I can hang any more drywall in the bathrooms, I need to put in my shower pan with a mortar bed underneath, and the same thing for the bathtub. I'm starting off with the shower pan since it's a little bit easier to work with myself. Of course, everything has to be connected and plumbed in, so I'm just hooking up the drain to the shower pan, getting that roughed in with some plumber's putty, and some blocking also has to go in. This is to support the shower doors, and so I'm putting in lots of blocking, just extra in case I need more material to screw in. And then I'm mixing up the mortar. This is just some standard quick-set mortar, and I'm mixing it to the manufacturer's instructions. This is a 50-pound batch. I think it should be enough for my shower pan. So I'll just get this all mixed up, and then once it's at the right consistency, I can start putting that down. Again, I've RedGuarded underneath. I probably didn't need to, but after seeing how much mold there was in the initial remodeling, I didn't want mold myself. So trying to keep things nice and water resistant here. Putting that initial mortar bed down, trying to get it even. You're gonna want less mortar towards the drain because that's where the shower pan slopes down, and more on the edges because that's where it slopes up. So this is an initial rough fit. You can see where each of the little feet are. I need to remove that mortar so there's no air pockets and so that there's a little wiggle room for the existing mortar. I'll go ahead and place that shower pan down again, and when I'm putting my level on things, it's actually looking really good. I get my short 2-foot level out so I can measure the sides and the diagonals a little bit easier. That 4-foot one's just a little bit too long, and my shower pan looks really good. So for today, I'm going to put in a couple of drywall screws. I actually don't have my galvanized flathead screws yet. I'll pick some up tomorrow, but just to lock it in place for tonight, 3 drywall screws and some shims should do the job, and tomorrow I'll get everything secured properly with some flat galvanized screws. Right on cue. As promised, I begin Sunday with securing the rest of the shower pan with the appropriate flat head galvanized screws. So these are 1.5-inch screws, and the important thing with a fiberglass shower pan or bathtub is that you pre-drill those holes. If you just try to go in with a screw, you're probably going to crack it. So once I get that shower pan secured, I move on to the project of putting a mortar bed down for the bathtub. Again, both the shower pan and the bathtub need to be installed before I can drywall, so that was my task for the weekend. My dad's also up here helping install some drywall, but anytime I need some help, like with this bathtub, he's a huge help. So the bathtub went in pretty nicely. I got it set up on a really good sturdy mortar bed, and thankfully that drain rough-in still lined up nice from a couple of months back. So I'm putting in that drain again with some plumber's putty and the O-ring below, getting it all tightened up, putting that overflow cap on, and giving it a test. And it worked. It worked really nicely. I put a couple of gallons down here and gave it a test, and you can see below there's a bunch of sawed-off spray foam, but no leaks. After that's done, I can finish knocking out drywall in the bathrooms, which is pretty much the rest of the weekend. I just keep cranking away on putting drywall in. There's not much to say about the remainder of the week other than I put more drywall up in the bathrooms. I completely finished the first bathroom, which is that big 5-foot bathroom with the bathtub. And yeah, it went really nicely. I also almost finished the bathroom off the master bedroom, but there's a little bit more on the bottom I need to finish up, which should happen in the next week. As always, thanks for watching my videos. I'll see you in week 77, where we should finish up the bathrooms and start working on the final 2 hanging walls down in the basement. That'll be the end of the drywalling. I can get my screws inspected and start mudding, taping, and texturing. I'll see you next week.